So years ago, I'd made a coffee table for my mum in high school, and she's moved into a new house and would like to have a table that would better match her new decor. So here's just a quick photo slideshow with some explanation about how I did that. The furniture that she picked had features like this chunky legs, kind of rustic look. I think it's called French Provincial, with a white underside and a stained wooden top. So I decided to try and fit something in that realm. So the first thing I did was set up my extension fence and stop blocks and cut all the pieces to size on my miter saw. Because all the pieces were made of construction pine, some of them did need to be, well, most of them needed to be cut down, so I did that with my table saw. First trimming off a little from one edge and then making the final cut on the other. The 90mm pieces were actually cut down to be just under 85. Being that the style is quite rustic, I decided that I wasn't going to spend a lot of time cleaning up the cuts that I'd made, so lots of saw marks and defects are present in the final product, but that adds to the rustic charm. The legs were a straight lamination. The top and the stiles and sides and everything else were all pocket screwed and then glued together as well to aid in strength and rigidity. The shelf was a bit of an afterthought because I was worried how much the table would be top heavy and get dragged around on the floor, so I added the shelf afterwards for a little extra rigidity. I don't have any footage of the frame being assembled or any photos of that because my neighbours were actually threatening to burn my house down at this point. It did go together and you'll be able to see that. I ran into a problem doing the bottom shelf. I wanted it to be structural, but I also didn't want it to look like it had been added last minute. I could add some cleats either going one way or the other. I decided I didn't have enough stock to do the cleats going along the long side, so I did them on the short by laminating two pieces together and then using some pocket screws in the short piece that the shelf would actually sit on, as you can see there. I would then lay some boards in and they're just some offcuts. It didn't matter that they didn't quite match, they were going to get painted. So once that was done and all screwed together, I could rip them down to size on the table saw and glue them in place. A little trick I used to get the indents on the side of the stiles and the legs the same was to use a scrap of 6mm plywood on the tabletop when I was actually screwing the pocket screws into the legs. It sounds really silly, but simple, and it worked. And here it is. Hopefully she likes it, and hopefully when I do my next projects or future projects, I'll actually turn the video part of the camera on rather than just taking photos. But if you persevered this far, thank you very much.